Thank you. All right, welcome everyone to the webinar Revolutionizing Service Requests, a deep dive into Power Platform and artificial intelligence. First disclaimer, all the pictures or most of them were generated by AI as help for this webinar, and that's why we have the disclaimer that DALL-E was one of our assistants. So, what is the aim of today's webinar? So the aim is to understand what's the standpoint of the service requests at the moment and what was it in the past. According to this, we will introduce you two main technologies. One will be the Power Platform, and the other one will be artificial intelligence based on Azure Open AI. When we through this, we will demonstrate two main use cases where we demonstrate those technologies working together.
Trying to do a live demo.
Exactly. So first of all, what was service requests back then? Back then we had a more traditional approach. This means we had a lot of manual process. You see in the picture on the left-hand side, a lot of paper is piling on, a lot of information is floating around. Everything was more reactive. So a question arising from a customer, it's going into the IT department. The IT department is looking at the question, trying to fix it. There are a lot of miscommunication may be happening. There are a lot of tracking which is not happening. Maybe you see it also in the picture that all the dots are not very much connected, and it's all about manual reactive approach rather than an automatic dashboard, for example. Then we have on the right-hand side a more realistic approach, which is today. You see we have a lot of more those silos, for example, which are connected. We have a more automated approach. We have different technologies. We have dashboards which are helping the customer to guide. We have more data to work with, and the service request now is more in sync with the IT department rather than before. If we're gonna look at the numbers, for example, the deflection rate, so the cost saving, what the chatbots are doing now with saving requests are about 30%. We can save about the service requests with the customer. This means because we use automation and service requests, 30% of the budget can be saved with automation and technologies which are available right now. Other studies point out that 45% of automation can happen, for example, through an FAQ chatbot. So frequently asked chatbots which are placing in the front end, for example, in a website where questions can be answered with technology alone before reaching actually the customer service. So the question now, what is the future? What could be automated in the future? Many of you know that AI is happening. AI is not just a joke. AI is not a word, a buzzword which is floating around. AI is here to stay. And with the news, for example, with OpenAI, you see day by day, week by week, new updates, new development happening. And that's why this picture should symbolize that the future is very bright according to the AI and according to the AI principles. But now this webinar is about two technologies. One technology is Power Platform. So Power Platform, what is this? I guess many of you know what Power Platform is. And here is a brief summary what this low-code technology is doing at the moment. So the overall understanding is a low-code and data platform for democratizing digitalization and unleashing your digital maker's potential to shape the business apps and process of your company. And at the moment, we have the 5 most usable Power Platform technologies. The first one, I guess many of you know, Power BI, is responsible for business analytics and dashboards. We have Power Apps, which is a low-code application builder software. We have Power Automate, which is the workflow engine to connect data to make automation possible. We have Power Virtual Agents, which are responsible for making conversation with the customer or the employee reality. And we have Power Pages, where you can easily build low-code, drag-and-drop websites at your disposal. Underneath, we have many more things. For example, data connectors to many more systems, Dataverse as backend, that's your database, and AI Builder, also one part of the AI journey.
And of course, everything built on Microsoft Cloud Platform.
Of course, Power Platform is one part of the Microsoft ecosystem connected to Microsoft 365 and, of course, Azure.
And Dynamics, of course, as well.
Dynamics, our CRM, ERP system, is, of course, on board as well. Yeah. So in order to demonstrate you the power of Power Platform, I would like to give you a quick summary of the capabilities of this platform according to a comic. Of course, this comic was created from our dear assistant, Dali. So we have a corporation with a lot of issues with their service requests. You see a lot of people are working with inefficiency, slow response time, and a backlog with unresolved tickets. Not everyone is very happy about that. But then let's introduce now our Power Platform to it. We have, for example, our Power Apps. We saw it before. We built a centralized IT support application which allows employees from the IT department to submit effortlessly and track the tickets which they receive from the customers. We can build dashboards on top of it and cluster and structure our ticketing system. With this help alone, a decrease of 50% of average ticket response time was achieved. If we go further, we implemented a workflow engine, the Power Automate engine, and with the help of the workflow engine, we could not eliminate, but decrease the human error to 35%. So for example, if you need to shift data, transform data, upload data, our automation engine was there and helped the IT department to eliminate those mundane tasks which were automated with the engine. On top of that, to have an overview what's happening with all the tickets, were they resolved, how long it took to resolve a ticket, there was a Power BI centralized dashboard which could span not only for the IT department, but also for the management to track the time which tickets were resolved and to track how long it took them to resolve the tickets. With this help, you could see where more effort needs to be put. For example, if, an IT department has a specific issue or a bug, which takes a lot of time. And with this implementation, the overall volume of tickets could be even reduced by 25%.
Nice numbers.
Of course, that's how it should be. And then we are not talking about our employees, but what about the customers? As before, there was, for example, we had the website and we needed to implement something for the customers to reach out to the IT department. And here we implemented our Power Virtual Agent, which automated mundane tasks, for example, populate forms, answer frequent questions, answer the most recent bugs, etc., etc. And with this help, we could reduce the overall volume of tickets even by 25%.
All right, it was the introduction of Power Platform. Now, next step.
Exactly. So Power Platform is a very powerful tool which can be implemented very easily into your all systems because it's part of Microsoft 365. And if you have Microsoft 365, you already have Power Platform on board. And in today's time, what is even more powerful is the combination, Power Platform and AI. And with this, I would like to give you a quick introduction how AI can actually help you with the service requests from your customer. A lot of problems arises that you need to use your own data. You have a lot of spreadsheets, you have a lot of PDFs, you have different images, guidelines, you even have, for example, voice messages, or you have, for example, YouTube videos where you explain something. And one of those approaches, what we can do with the help of AI, we can get all the data which we have, collect it and save it in our very special database from Azure. It's called embedding and is based on a vector database, but that's another story. And with this help, you can actually use your own data for the purpose to answer questions. And according to this, I would like to show you a quick demonstration how this can be achieved. So you see down there, we have Azure. That's also where your data is based. So for example, if your Azure instances are secured in Switzerland, then all your data is also staying in Switzerland and it's not going anywhere. For example, you have different PDFs, manuals about your product. You have FAQs about your solutions, about your products. So you have different SharePoints with either SharePoint lists, different document libraries, anything, right? Even external systems, for example, SAP systems, where you have data available, which can be used to answer questions.
So you can integrate any data source.
Anything. Then, of course, you have websites or any other data source available to your disposal. As in the picture before I showed you, you can actually use the data to work with. So what is happening afterwards? Afterwards, we're going to Azure Cognitive Search. It's a service from Azure. And with Cognitive Search, we can actually use the data and, as shown before, create this vector search database. Vectors are not new, but they're very, very helpful now with the help of AI. So we have now all the data which we put into our vector database. And with this help, we have now all data available to dock in, to ask questions, to use. So for example, a user is then going and asking question about this specific product. Can it be combined with this material? So you're going to our website, opening our virtual agent, and then asking this question. So this question is then going back to our vector database and then coming back to the virtual agent, where our Open AI model, the language model, many of you know, for example, ChatGPT, it's based on the same model, then answers the question, for example, yes, you can use this material with this material in order to build, for example, this product.
And all based on your own data, company data.
Exactly. As shown, like you see underneath, you can use almost anything. And of course, this is integrated either into your website or it is integrated in your Teams channel. And
something that you will show afterwards.
Of course, the demo will come, don't worry. We have even more. If you need to transform the data and work with, we have, for example, our Power Automate flow engine, which will then take the task and then gives further to the service request engine, to our Power App, and so more.
Okay.
So
show it.
Before I show you the demo, I would like to quickly summarize what the demo is doing. So we have two demos. One is customer facing on our Swisscom website.
Fake Swisscom website.
A fake Swisscom website, which is also built with the Power Platform itself. We saw before the Power Pages. So it's built on Power Pages. And we have our Azure web bot built into the website, which then can answer our questions. The same we have then with our teams. We have the same technologies which are based on Azure Open AI, Cognitive Search, the same deployed in our Teams channel. And we have here the power to have all the Microsoft suite behind it and create different fallback topics and so on, more and more. So let's go to the demo. For example, I have now here my Teams open. I'm chatting with my web bot, and what the web bot is doing, the web bot in this example is has indexed all the Swisscom web page. So let's say I'm a customer or even an employee and I'm not sure what I have to do because with my router. So I have asked very simple question. And one question could be, can I place my router on the site?
So the Swisscom router that you have at home in your home. Or the Swisscom box.
So the bot is answering, to achieve optimum VLAN reception, it is recommended to always stand the VLAN box upright. And that is true. And he's not only answering the question in a general manner, he's also referencing his answer. So you always, when you click, for example, on the link, it shows you actually from which page of the Swisscom website he actually got the information.
Cool.
The advantage of this technology is if you don't have this information provided, he will not make up an answer. he will basing this answer on the data which is provided. So for example, our router has now more issues, and one of those issues is we have a red light on a router. So what can we do? So again, I'm pasting my question is, how can I fix my router if it is showing a red light? The answer is coming. We're wondering what he's doing, and voila. He's basing now steps to prevent this red light. So for here we have an idea how we can actually troubleshoot this router. So first step, check the connection. You have the 10 seconds time in, time out, check the interconnection, etc. And again, this answer was not made up. It was created for us according to a website. And once again, if I go into the reference,
you need to have a good documentation on the website.
Exactly.
I mean, that's one of the data sources that you can integrate, but you can of course also integrate other data sources. And
of course, you can integrate different files, PDF, everything which I was showing before. And this is the great advantage. Even here, you can, for example, if this chatbot can't answer your question based on your website, you can go further and let's say, okay, then answer please my question based on all the documents I provided you, all the FAQs, all the files, all my SharePoint lists and libraries, which I provide according to the security labels, of course.
So especially for internal use, if you want to apply such a service request bot for internal use, then can have the data anywhere.
Exactly. And also here, the data, for example, if I have security clearance for those documents, it will only look in those documents I have the security label applied to. So this was now the webbot, which is a Power Virtual Agent deployed in Teams. So let's go now to the next one. So for example, here we have our fake website. I must say that we just built it for demonstration purposes. Again, this website was built with Power Pages, which is part of the Power Platform family. And you see we have a simple navigation menu, you know, simple products from Swisscom, which you know, of course, from the original Swisscom website. And here we have our Swisscom chatbot. I hide the history. Also to add, how the chatbot look like. This is just a very standardized web application right now. Of course, you can create a look and feel according to your website, according to your CI/CD principles. That's not a problem at all. So what I'm doing right now, I will go to the next window, so you will see all the words in a bigger size. It's the same chatbot. You see, again, we are basing it on Azure Open AI, and here we can ask again more questions. So let's start with the same question with our router. Can I place my router on the side? If you remember, first the answer was like, it is not recommended, but you can. But what will now our chatbot, which is trained by real data, what will be the answer now? So the question is, can I place my router on the side?
Let's see.
Let's see what he's up to. So, according to the reference, laying the router on the side will significantly impair VLAN reception. The Internet Box 3 is one of the Internet Box from Swisscom, an older one, I guess, has an integrated position sensor. And similar as our webbot in our Teams client, we can open up the reference. You see, for example, which file there is. And if you allow the user to interact with your files, which you have stored in your Azure instance, also here in this example, we have an Azure Blob storage. And when we click on the file is actually opening in a separate window, and we can actually go inside the citation. Because the antenna position, this can only be ensured, blah, 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 blah. So all the text is then provided, so you can get more knowledge about what is happening and whatnot. So let's try more questions. One question is, for example, if I have a business and I need permanent secure internet access from the world, what would you recommend? I mean, don't worry even if you make mistakes while typing, for example, like here, that's not an issue because we have a language model and ChatGPT will always understand you, even if you, for example, delete some words from your question. So let's go in further and ask this question: what kind of internet would Swisscom recommend me? Once again, this chatbot has around 10 PDFs stored in Azure, and he's basing his answer on the PDF. So based on the retrieved document, Swisscom IP Plus Business Internet Service offers fast, secure, and highly available internet access. And here again, we have two references. So if you go to a reference, we open the reference and see we have now two different one fact sheet and one service PDF. And here again, we can click on the PDF and get all the information we need if we have furthermore questions. Cool. And let's try our last question, for example, how does Swisscom Internet protect me? And once again,
so is this now also going into the context of a business customer, or you try to find anything, right?
You can actually either you create that it will base your information how you log in. If your website has a login system, you can log yourself in, and then it will know according to your data you logged in. Who are you? Are you a business customer? Are you a personal customer? And then you can either adapt your AI chatbots accordingly or make it broad.
Yeah, just the first question was on business, and now it's a general question. But let's see what he responded.
Exactly. So Swisscom, how can it protect me? Swisscom offers various security options for its internet service, including internet security. So there are a lot of text. I'm not going to read the whole text, but you see it gives you an answer based on the documents. And the good thing is, if, as said, one of the problems, if a chatbot is answering a question not according to your data, for example, if you ask ChatGPT, it will give you an answer based on the world, based on all the information he gathers. But if I here just ask a random question, can I paint my car red? He should give me an answer that this is not based on my knowledge.
Should not hallucinate.
Exactly.
Let's see. Yeah, he's trying to find something.
Maybe he's really trying to find, like, really, is there a car in my portfolio? Can I paint it red?
Red logos, maybe.
Red logos, yeah.
Let's see. Not car. Oh, yeah. Something.
Exactly. I'm sorry, but the retrieved documents do not contain any information related to painting a car. However, I can suggest you to consult with a professional car painter. So this is the good thing. If you have, for example, really sensitive data which you don't want to leak out, or you have data which can't actually answer the question of your problem, then you can do a fallback. For example, afterwards I can say, do you want to search me the internet? And then you can use actually, for example, like the Bing AI module, where you say, look in those 50 websites and then answer the question accordingly.
How can you ask for, can you give me an address of a car painter nearby?
This module doesn't have it enabled, but you can make it.
Can enable it.
Exactly. Then, if you remember on our small architecture picture, we have the fallback questions.
Yeah.
So after, like, if you didn't find anything on the documents, you can fall back to the whole internet. If you didn't find anything there, you can actually then fall back to our service request agent. But then it's like, if I can't actually answer the question according to my files, then then I really need a human to be able to help me.
Or prioritize a first priority data, and then if you don't find it there, then fall back a second priority data set.
Exactly.
Things like that.
Exactly. You can make, for example, you can go to like first level, third level support. You can build actually this structure also with AI, and with this help, you can actually create then your topics and your fallback topics.
By the way, what was the role of Power Automate in this case?
Power Automate, for example, if you use a chatbot and a chatbot can't answer a question, then a Power Automate can actually create a database where our service agent will work with, for example, in a Power App. So the service agent will see, this question was, the bot couldn't answer this question. So in our Power App will be all the topics where the service agent will see, and accordingly they can then create those files, which will be then synced into our bot, and then our bot can answer the future topics.
Okay.
So the automation part is here to, like, let's say, make the bot more clever, that it learns from the data, that it actually can answer the customer questions.
Okay. You know what you're talking about. That's good.
So we now saw two big topics. One was the Power Virtual Agent, and one was the Azure Web AI bot, which could answer the questions according to data and according to websites. And the key takeaways, which makes this technology even more exciting, is that you make existing data available and usable from any kind of data. It could be your website or your partner's websites. It could be different databases. It could be even JSON files or XML files. It could be all those old Excel spreadsheet where all the information which is still relevant, but you still can find it, etc. Just think about any data you have lying around in your company, you can use it. And if you can't use it, we can use Power Automate to transform the data to make it usable. That's not a problem at all. Then low code. In our example, Microsoft Power Platform is a perfect accelerator for AI use cases. You saw it before. You don't need to be an IT professional or a developer to make this happen. You can actually connect your virtual agents, your apps, to the AI principles, to the AI chatbots, to the Azure cognitive searches, and then create the solutions either internally or externally. And then, as said, it's very quickly implemented by digital makers. So we know those words about citizen developers or people who are not very IT professional, but still they're trying. And if they understand the core principles, they can build it itself, and it's more efficient and very quicker.
Okay, good stuff. Actually, I just received a question from a participant in this direction. It's asking, is it possible to do a bot you showed by myself easily? Are there any how-tos available? Or what does easily mean? I mean, you're an expert, you know what to do because you do it every day. But how easy is it for the bot that we have shown? How easy is such a bot?
The bot itself, I mean, those bots, it's according to the use case, you can make it very challenging. But for example, those use cases I showed you, there was zero single line of code there written by me. It's all just a configuration part. Of course, if you want to make it more clever and make it like chatting and using workflows and data operations, then some low code principles are there. But the next slide, for example, here, if you have any use cases, I mean, I can show you. I'm glad you're there. I love this technology. I do it every day. Even last year, I went to the very first Power Platform conference in Orlando. It's a huge community. It's an efficient community. Your question, how to do so? You can either Google it, approach the community, or if you have a specific use case according to I want to build it internally, then book an hour with me. I can show you what is doable in, for example, a proof of concept, how much this will take time, and it doesn't take for a proof of concept. It's very, very short, so you don't have to build months. And
short means 2 days, 3 days, a week or so.
We can build, for example, a very simple POC in, let's say, 2 to 4 weeks.
No. Are there other questions? So we are still here for you. And by the way, this is an offer for you. So we are actually through the slides and the demo. So thank you a lot. This is an offer for you. Dimitri, you have seen, he knows what he talks about. So he's available for you. You can actually book him for a 1 hour free tech briefing. If you have a use case, if you think about, if a special use case and think about how could I implement it on Power Platform and OpenAI, you see his email address. Of course, you can also contact your Swisscom account manager if you want. He would then reach out to Dimitri, and Dimitri is actually really available for you. Left 1 or 2 other questions. In the demo, we've seen that the interface was either the website or Teams. Is it easy to integrate the bot also into other interfaces? I don't know, Outlook or what would you recommend? Is it difficult? Is it easy? Is it fully flexible? Or yeah.
The easiest part at the moment, I mean, according to the ecosystem, we have websites, we have Teams, we have let's say applications. You can have in your you can, if you have Dynamics, you can implement it there. If you want to do something more special, for example, Outlook, you need to write an add-in, and then it can be implemented there. Other interfaces will be, for example, WhatsApp. That's also a possibility to implement this technology there. So user, if you have a business, can actually ask those questions via WhatsApp, and an AI will answer those questions according to your documents. Okay. So those are all possibilities. There's not like a scope, oh no, we can't do it here. But then it's like, yeah, then we just do a small API, and then we can connect it.
Okay. How about if you have critical data as more for internal use? OpenAI, Azure OpenAI is deployed in Switzerland, but is the rest of the platform also deployed in Switzerland? So is there some, if you have really critical data, do you have, well, I mean, can you use this technology? Is it, can Microsoft guarantee that everything stays in Switzerland, or is there some part of the technology or the solution also outside of Switzerland in other data centers?
I mean, you're using your own data, which is, for example, in the cloud, and it's already in the cloud in your Swiss tenant. So if you have a Swiss tenant and your Azure instance is based on Switzerland, then your data is staying in Switzerland, and Microsoft guarantees that. The same with SharePoint. If your M365 tenant is in Switzerland, then your data stays in Switzerland. If you're using Azure OpenAI, so not like ChatGPT, where your data, the free version, is going actually to America, and it can actually be used for training. If you're using Azure OpenAI, your data staying in Switzerland, is not used for training, is not saved anywhere. You can actually delete the logs if you have to. Mm-hmm. And you can even apply even internally security labels for your employees, that they will just get the answer according to their permissions.
Okay. Perfect. One other question just came in. What about on-premise systems? Can it be integrated, linked either via API requests?
It is possible. I mean, one way is like you implement the whole model into your enterprise system and then build it accordingly in your on-premise system, or you go through a gateway and implement in this way. Both approaches are viable and possible.
Okay. Perfect. Then one other question just came in. Thanks a lot for the demo. Could you briefly compare Power Pages to the many web content management systems that are normally used by SMEs to create, manage their website?
The big advantage is if you have data, I mean, Power Page is part of the Power Platform, which means it's part of the whole M365 and Azure ecosystem. If you're using Power Pages, you can easily save the data in your SharePoint, in your Dataverse, in all your database, which is already in the cloud, and you start automating it. So all the system we have Power Automate. You can actually build Power Automate very close inside your Power Page. You have the authentication inside the Power Page, which is saved in your backend from Microsoft. So everything, if you have a use case where you build something which is based on your data from Microsoft, then a Power Page is very efficient, because automations, you can even deploy Power BI dashboards inside your Power Page. You can make formulas, you can make, forms and everything. So of course it will depend on your use case, but this is one of the use cases, for example, to use a Power Page.
Okay, great. Another question just came in. Can we also integrate this with other service management systems? ServiceNow, for instance.
Of course, there's even a ServiceNow custom connector already existing inside the Power Platform, so you don't have to write a custom API to use the connector. But if there is not a connector for your system, you can actually create a connector with your system. Even if you have very, let's say, stubborn legacy system, there is a robot process automatic engine which can actually even automate those systems.
Okay. And the same person asking an add-on question, also, can we build and trigger workflows based on an incident created for a specific problem or an application?
Of course, you can build the triggers according to incidents, according to status, according to different webhooks or your system. You can make a triage with your AI to, for example, first triage the tickets coming in, placing our incident that's a very important incident, and then it depends on the use case. But yes, you saw why we have Power Automate. For example, if an incident is coming, Power Automate can handle the data, transform it, and then give it to AI to work with, or give it to a customer agent to work with, or create any automation based on that trigger.
I actually recommend you who wrote the questions, book the hour with Dimitri, and then you can ask all the questions.
Of course, I mean it's free, it's beneficial. We can get to know your problem, your use case, and I'm always happy to answer the questions, because I mean I love talking about these technologies. They're evolving, they're not staying still, and that's what makes it very interesting.
Yeah, that's the power of cloud, actually. And at the moment, nothing evolves quicker than AI technology.
Exactly.
So yeah. So that's all the questions answered. Dimitri, thanks a lot for your expertise here for the webinar, and thank you for participating today. By the way, this is actually I'm doing this webinar series since 5 years now. We started with conditional access webinar about 5 years ago, and this is actually the last webinar. So because I will be leaving Swisscom will continue doing webinars on other areas. So stay tuned. There will be many interesting topics to cover. So thanks for joining, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.